Lisa. One of the challenges I have for these photos is this is the photo that I took or had taken of the four of us for my parents' 58th wedding anniversary. And you can see that we're all dressed in the same colors except my mom, because we're all dressed in colors that we like to wear. And she likes neutrals, and she likes some bright touches, bright red or bright blue. And she happened to have on red that day. So my first inclination was, what can I do to change her outfit to make it match everybody else's? So in Photoshop, I altered it so that I changed the color a little bit and made it more of a rust color, which kind of picked up the rust in my top and made it blend a little bit. This was also fall. It was an October photo. It was a very warm October day, as you can tell from the short sleeve shirts that we had on, or I guess I kind of remember it being cool, but the gentlemen wore short sleeves, so that's what they had on. But anyway, I really like this photo, and then I started to pull this page together, and I remembered that I had another picture of my mother, and she's wearing the red, and I didn't alter it. I think originally I was going to do this as a one-page thing with just the 5x7, but I really wanted to go ahead and do all the photos together and do this as a spread. So I'm going to stick with the red. So I don't want the red to really jump out too much. It's about my parents' anniversary, but I don't want her photo to overshadow his photo. So what I think I'm going to do with this is kind of work with the yellows and the more neutral colors in the background, and not really try to deal with the red or the blue, and just kind of keep this a little bit more neutral in the background. The sketch I have for this, I have my 5x7 photo over here on the right-hand page, and all the supporting photos and journaling over on the left-hand page. I have two 4x6s, and then I have some 3x3 photos that were taken at an art gallery that we visited after our meal. And my mom took a picture of my husband and I there as well. And this gate and the detail work here and at the place where we had lunch kind of inspires the background of this. What I'm looking for here is a die cut to go in the background. I want to do a large 12x12 die cut for the background of this page, and then do a smaller section, and I'll show you on the silhouette how I'm going to do just a little bit of the die cut for this background, because most of it's going to get covered up with photos. So there's no point in cutting this huge thing and then wasting it. So we're just going to do a little bit around the edge and do a larger one over here on the side for the page. So I'm going to shop my stash a little bit and see what colors I can come up with, and maybe yellows and tan colors to sort of do the nice neutral background. I think that will really pick up the place where we had lunch, and let our photos really stand out. In shopping my stash, I really like the Spice Market papers from Basic Gray. It's a collection. I've used most of it up, and I had broken it down by color, but I have these two in gold, and one of them I have a full sheet, and then the other one I only have this much of it, but I could put maybe a strip. I'm going to have to rethink my sketch though, and maybe do a strip of this over here and do like the solid gold paper, which is from another Basic Gray collection, but it goes with it pretty well. And then maybe I'll put this one on the right-hand page with this photo. What I thought I'd do before I made a final decision on these is go ahead and cut out my large design for the right-hand paper right-hand page out of this ivory cardstock, and then just do a little small piece to go up here in the upper left-hand corner of the page. So let's do those on the silhouette. This is going to take a little while to cut out because it's kind of an intricate design. In the Silhouette software, this is the design that I have cut for my large detailed background for that right-hand page, and I just want a strip of it for the left-hand page, really a border, because that's all we're going to see over on the side underneath the photos that are there. So what I want to do is just basically subtract out the majority of this design. So I'm going to use the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle. And to make this easier to see, we'll take the rectangle and we'll give it some color. You don't have to do this, but this will just make it a little bit easier to see what's going on. Now I can adjust the size of it so that it will trim it out about where I want it to cut. Okay. Now with both of these selected, draw around both of them to select both the rectangle and the design on the back. Then I'm going to go to Object, Modify, Subtract. And this will take just a second to do, and it will remove then most of the design. And what it's left with, let's take a look at it and see if we like the look that we're going to get here. Now this cut edge, it's probably going to work out for me with that line in there. That's going to be hidden behind the photos anyway. So if I get kind of a rough edge on the right side, that's not going to be a problem for me. I just need this border to go all the way down. And then I'll go ahead and send that to cut, and we'll resume at our page. So we have our cuts, and that large one took quite a bit of time to cut. So it's just one of those things you just sort of have to be prepared to do other things while your silhouette's busy working. I don't leave mine alone though, because if the paper gets messed up, it makes this horrid noise and it doesn't automatically cut itself off. So I just make sure I'm going to stay in the room with it. At this point, I am playing with papers and deciding which side I want to put the solid on. I really thought I would use the overlay over that print, but it just covered up so much of the print that I decided to put it over the solid and do a little border of that other paper down at the bottom. I also matted my photo with black and some more of the ivory paper. I'm going to use black as my other neutral. Kind of wanted to do brown because it sort of went with the restaurant colors and things, but all that iron work over, or metal work over in the art pieces there is black, and so that's what I'm going to do with my letters. This was my parents' 58th wedding anniversary, so I found some numbers that I'm going to alter. The 5 is almost the right color, but the 8 definitely wasn't. So I'm taking the top layer off, and as soon as I cut the camera off, it peeled right off like I wanted it to. Normally those top layers peel off pretty good. I painted them with just plain black acrylic paint, and then I'm going over the top with some glossy accents. I'm not putting it on real smooth. I've got kind of a rough brush there. It's going to end up with a little bit of a textured look, but that's okay because there's a little bit of a rustic look to the place we ate, and so it doesn't have to be super smooth for what I'm doing. But the glossy accents really gives it a great finish to these letters and makes them an embellishment as well as part of the title. So I have my numbers all dried, and I went looking for something to put over on the right. I had a heart drawn on the sketch, and this heart is a piece of wood veneer, and it has an opening. So we're going to put a ribbon around it. It kind of got some space to fill up there, and I'm using some trim, this open weave black trim on the back side of it. I was going to put another layer back there, but I think I like it just with that. I also wanted to do a little bit more embellishment, and I found this ampersand that I really liked that was just the right colors. So I worked my title around that, and I felt like the page needed a little bit more trim. I've gone through quite a few of my neutrals, and then I remembered that I had this in my mixed media drawer. This is some, it's not rhinestones, but it's just some little shiny plastic things that are connected together for trim, and it really makes a nice finish for this page, and it's real reflective of my mom's taste, I think, to do this. And then I'm going to put a little bit of twine around it, some lawn fawn, gold, and ivory twine. I've also used some rub-ons, the crown above the heart, and then I put some around the picture frame.
Okay, in the case of this layout, I think I'm going to be modifying the sketch before it goes in my sketchbook. Sometimes I do that. I take whatever I have done with the layout and doing the video, and I go back and I alter the sketch. Sometimes I do the sketch after the video. Other times I leave it alone. Whatever I designed here, even if I changed it, I feel like maybe it's too project specific, and I'll just leave it as part of the sketch. So it varies depending on what I think works with it. But in this case, I'll probably add a few of these details, like maybe some of the trims and the little, I used rhinestones, but you could use brads or any kind of embellishment up there. So a few of those little things will probably get into this before it gets published.
But that gives you an idea. Also spread the photos out a little bit instead of pulling them together into a collage. I went ahead and left some space between them because I had such pretty paper here and pretty colors and things with it. So we have the subtle background. It's very subtle over here and a little bit more pronounced here. And I had to put a different paper along the bottom. And I probably won't reflect that in the sketch, but that was something I had to do to make it work because I just didn't have enough paper, and I put some up here, but then I ended up covering up most of it. It's so much the same colors. It's a very subtle distinction there anyway. And I really like the little crown and the rhinestone, and then this bit of trim inside the heart. This one was given to me. I had one of these before and I'd used it on another layout, and then a friend gave me a bunch of wood veneer, and so I had that great piece that I could use again on another page. I think that's Sammy Tangerine, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. It's been so long since I bought mine. And then this really cool trim, and I have that in my mixed media kit on my Etsy shop.
So check out my Etsy shop for different mixed media products for your scrapbook pages or your other art. Thanks for watching, and I hope you've liked this 2-pager with a 5x7 photo and several other photos in a collage, along with some die cut options. Thanks for watching.